What's up, everybody, and
Hello.
Welcome back to the continuation of the Aaron Goodwin fiasco.
Definitely a fiasco, for sure.
It's pretty crazy.
It is a crazy story. It's super wild.
It is.
What?
I'm pretty annoyed. We just did this, and it froze up. We got to get a new camera. Anyways, I forgot. I got to go through this again. So I do have the listener stories.
Yes.
You would have gotten a more genuine reaction from Megan before, but it turns out that because we're using my phone as a camera, the stories are on my phone.
Oh, idiot.
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't think about that. So we're going to have to push them off yet again, and we're going to have to send them to Megan's phone and read them that way next week.
Sorry, Ben.
We are working on a new camera, which will be coming in about a month and a half.
Soon.
It's about a month and a half.
Soon.
So that's going to happen. I apologize. I really wish I would have thought of that ahead of time, but I went to school in Florida.
That's all right.
I've been over this.
That's all right.
And, but we are going to do the continuation of Aaron Goodwin. And the thing is when we watched the first video, I had already known about it and seen it, parts of it. Mm-hmm. I have no idea from this point on. Yeah. None whatsoever.
Like, I knew the situation that happened for sure, but I didn't know any sort of details until we watched the video last week.
Yeah.
So I am very interested to see where this goes.
See, I did know. I just don't know anything beyond this. And we're going to go back to Law and Crime. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest, they're not my favorite true crime, but it's not them. It's just I usually consume true crime in more of a storied format. Yeah. And this is more of like a legal kind of format, I guess.
Yeah.
But they're doing such a good job. Why go to something else?
We also watch a lot of interview footage.
Oh, yeah. A lot.
A lot.
But that's usually in a storied form. We watch like Ewu and what is it? Red Tree, I think it's what it's called.
Yeah, I think so.
So we do a lot of that, but
yeah,
we're going to stick with Law and Crime as, and I don't know. There could be another one after this. I have no idea.
I know.
Okay, but even...
Oh, my God, I know.
We're getting behind on the time frame. That's fine, though. We're never going to be the first ones to put it out anyways.
No, definitely not.
So let's jump into this. And see what this video has for us.
Okay.
Let's do this. Let's do the thing.
Let's do it.
Yes, let's check this out. This is probably going to get pretty crazy.
I know.
Victoria Goodwin, 25 CR 020105.
Good morning, Your Honor. David Brown.
Already in court.
Ms. Goodwin, who's present in custody.
That's crazy.
Good morning, Your Honor. Christopher Handler for the state.
It's good, though.
Good morning.
Victoria Goodwin allegedly conspired with a convicted killer to murder her husband, Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin. Now she's potentially facing years behind bars. This case has all the elements of a Hollywood thriller, but for Aaron Goodwin, it is a real-life nightmare. With his estranged wife appearing in court this week,
she looks so different.
I know.
Man, makeup. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to shame her. I'm not trying to shame her.
No.
But
I look very different without makeup on.
You don't look that much different.
I think I do.
She looks, I wouldn't even, if you put her side by side, I wouldn't even be able to tell you that they're the same.
Really?
Yeah. Look at her. Look at her compared to the other pictures we've seen.
I mean, it still looks like her.
I disagree. I don't think it looks anything like her. I think it like completely different person.
All right.
I don't, nothing about her looks the same to me.
That's
but,
fair.
Hey, whatever.
Yeah.
Week, we're going to break down every disturbing detail in this unfolding case. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
Thanks, Jesse.
It's your weird hair and your big
this
forehead.
is basically a case that reads like a script from
Wish I
a
had
true
that
crime
problem.
thriller, and we have been tracking every shocking development here on Sidebar. But for Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin, this is a real-life nightmare because his now estranged wife, Victoria Goodwin, appeared in court on March 24th, handcuffed in jail scrubs, because she is facing explosive criminal charges of solicitation to commit murder and conspiracy to commit murder for allegedly plotting to have a hitman kill her husband, Aaron. Now, this hearing was just the latest in a saga that includes alleged secret prison communications, a murder for hire plot to the tune of over 11...
We're going to get to find out if any of our predictions were right, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's been convicted yet. She's definitely been arrested. I'm real curious what they decide to do with Grant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And her. I still don't think she's gonna get a ton of time though. Maybe
I hope so.
Maybe
I
because
really do.
it's more of a high profile thing, but I don't know.
Like, make an example of her. It's crazy.
They're not gonna make an example of her.
What?
She's a blonde white woman. They're definitely not gonna make an example of her.
$11,000, a marriage that was reportedly unraveling in the darkest way possible. Now, if you're just catching up on this case, this shocking case, here's what you need to know. This, again, I'll use the term nightmare, began on March 6th when 32-year-old Victoria Goodwin was arrested in Nevada for what investigators allege was a murder-for-hire plot with a co-conspirator straight out of a true crime documentary. That alleged co-conspirator, Grant Amato, a name true crime fans will definitely recognize because Amato is currently serving a life sentence in Florida for the 2019 murders of his father, mother, and brother, a case that we covered extensively here on Law and Crime.
Grant Buttery Bitch Boy Amato. It just still blows my mind that he's a part of this.
I know. I know.
Guy who had it all, threw it all away.
Like, we lived in Florida when this happened. Like, it was very big news.
It was like Casey Anthony big.
Huge.
She's
like,
still
what?
out there.
Oh, God, don't even get me started.
Prosecutors say he killed them because they were trying to stop him from spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a webcam girl he said he was in love with, but apparently had never met in person. And his story was recently featured in a Paramount Plus documentary, putting him back in the spotlight and allegedly on Victoria Goodwin's radar. So according to an arrest report obtained by Law and Crime, investigators say Goodwin had been communicating with Amato via a smuggled cell phone from inside his prison. And there are texts that unveiled an apparent detailed alleged plot to kill her husband, 48-year-old Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin, while he was filming the TV series
48?
out in California.
I just thought the same thing, man.
He's 48?
He looks really good for his age.
Wow.
I mean, I figured he was in his 40s, but I figured he was closer to my
like
age.
your age, yeah. Wow.
But I mean, I guess
Good for you, dude.
48's not really that much older than me. Now that I think about it. But still.
Still, though, I would not have guessed 48.
No, man. I mean, he's obviously in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Because he is a ball of energy. At
I
least
know.
on TV.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
And he seems like it in all these pictures and stuff. I still think she looks dramatically different.
Absolutely.
So weird.
I don't know. Because some pictures she does, some pictures
what's
she
funny?
doesn't. It's weird.
To me, she looks younger without the makeup.
Yeah.
She does.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Some
but
people, it ages. I don't know.
I like you with more minimal makeup. I think it makes you look younger.
Yeah, well, I don't wear a lot of makeup anyway.
You have on occasion, and I don't care for it.
Right.
I like this.
Like, daily basis, I wear like 4 things.
All of it.
Stop it. Get some help.
Like all of it.
I sure hope so.
Obviously, I'm married to her.
And during Tuesday's hearing, Goodwin appeared. She looked mostly solemn, appeared to be smirking at one point as she looked back at her attorney. During the hearing, she waived her right to a preliminary hearing.
Victoria Goodwin, 25 CR 020105.
Good morning, Your Honor. David Brown on behalf of Ms. Goodwin, who's present in custody.
Good morning, Aaron Goodwin, Henry for the state.
Good morning.
Your Honor, this was set for preliminary hearing. Originally, she had invoked her right to preliminary hearing within 15 days. She's going to waive that right today. This was called off at our request, and we're just asking for a status check in 2 weeks.
All right. That's correct, state.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Goodwin, did you hear those representations put on the record by your attorney?
Yes.
And you're agreeing to continue this for 2 weeks for
Yes.
possible negotiations? All right, so that 2-week date will be?
April 8th at 8:30.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So she's going to be
That was
back in
yesterday.
court on April 8th
2 days
for a
ago.
status check.
So there probably will be a third to this.
Yeah, that was literally 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was.
Today's, what, the 11th, right?
Yeah, so it was 3 days ago.
Okay, 3. My bad.
Wow.
I can't
So-
maths it. But like this that we're watching right here, like her in court, was like 2 weeks ago. Because they said it was March 24th.
Yeah. Oh, I knew we were behind here.
Well, I know we're behind, but we're closer than I thought we were.
Oh, no. I feel like we're way behind.
It's 2 weeks.
I guess.
And I mean,
don't
a
know.
lot can happen in 2 weeks. I get that, but
Feels like a lot to me. I don't know.
well, I mean, murder for hire, it's a lot.
I mean, so there will be a third part to this.
Yeah.
because we have to find out what happens to her. I can't get through all
Of
this
course.
and not find out.
We'll have to dig in and see if they've done another video
We'll have to-
in the next by next week.
I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have.
And her bail remains set at $100,000. According to court records reviewed by the Daily Mail, as
10
part of the
grand,
conditions
baby.
of her bail, she cannot have contact with her husband. But Aaron, he filed for divorce on March 12th.
Good for
stating that
him.
Good for you, Aaron.
Yay!
Good for you.
Good job.
the two have, quote, views, tastes, and dislikes that have become, quote, incompatible to the extent that it has become impossible for them to live together as husband and wife in marital harmony.
Like
there
she
is
wants
no
him to stop
possibility
breathing?
of reconciliation between husband and wife. And in that filing,
Or you live at home
Aaron
and she's in
requested
jail?
to have their assets divided equally while remaining in possession of a separate property that he owns.
Did you know that for just $5 a month, you can get extra content before the booze? And for $10 a month, you can also influence the show. Thank you for your support. And now, back to our show.
But the updates don't stop there, because Aaron apparently filed an amended complaint on March 19th, which now includes a lawsuit. And that filing, obtained by USA Today, reveals that Aaron is now suing his wife for assault, claiming that she made him fear for his safety. False imprisonment, claiming that she tried to control his movements.
Do you think? I would feel pretty threatened as well, since she tried to hire somebody to kill him.
I mean, I think that's literally the definition of a threat.
That is wild. I'm glad that because I could see him being the kind of nice guy that's like, no, we'll just part ways.
Let justice serve whatever she's got coming in court, and then leave it at that after a divorce.
I'm surprised that.
Good for you.
I'm surprised that he was like 50-50. I would have been like, no, she gets nothing.
Nothing for you.
Yeah.
You tried to have me killed.
Yeah.
If you would have just came to me and said, this isn't working out, I'd be like, well, here's half of everything. God be with you. But if you try to kill me, I'm taking everything. I'm taking everything.
Everything is mine.
Well, yeah, why wouldn't you? She literally tried to have you murdered. So,
So crazy. Good for him.
I mean,
I'm glad he did that.
hey, man. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm pretty happy for him.
Negligence, accusing her of behaving recklessly during their marriage, and the intentional infliction of emotional distress. The filing states Victoria's conduct was extreme or outrageous, which are the elements for that, with either the intention of or reckless disregard for causing emotional distress to Aaron. He suffered severe or extreme emotional distress as the actual or proximate result of her conduct. That's the causation
Absolutely.
element. And he's seeking more than $100,000 in damages, a swift divorce, arguing that
That's why he gave her half of everything so he could take it in court.
Just give me my money.
$100,000. That's exactly what her bail is.
I think it's funny, too, that he's like, I want her to have a half of everything so I can take it.
So I can take it back.
Hey, man, whatever. I mean, I feel like that's
Good for him.
that's a good way to be like, to really drive it home that you're mad, right? Is to give it to her and then be like, haha, just kidding, and take it all back.
It's all mine now. Again.
Man, that is petty level 1,000. I love that for him. I'd love to see it. Love to see it.
Goodwin's alleged actions, including, quote, acting in concert with a convicted murderer, constitute a tort or a wrongful act, justifies terminating their marriage immediately. And by the way, for the first time since all of this happened, Aaron Goodwin has broken his silence, taking to Instagram to thank his fans for their support. That post from March 22nd reads, "Thank you everyone for all the love and support through this emotionally trying time. It has really helped a lot and I appreciate you all." And here's the thing. From what we could tell by the couple's Instagram photos, the two appear to have been together since at least 2018 before getting engaged in 2019 and ultimately tying the knot at Disney's Haunted Mansion, and they appear to be happy, which if these allegations are true, you gotta feel for Aaron Goodwin here,
That is
right?
7 years.
Because now instead of a happy ending, the relationship has imploded in what would be the most sinister, unpredictable way possible if the allegations against Victoria prove to be true. A whole lot of shocking details surrounding the alleged crime have come to light from the arrest report, including possibly a suggestion that Victoria was romantically involved with Grant Amato. We're going to get to all those details.
What did I say? What did I say?
You did say that.
You
did.
I knew it.
And if
I knew it.
you're watching this or listening to this, Go back to last week because he 100% said that.
I knew that's how she roped him into this.
Yep.
Because that's it. I'll be nice.
Move this man!
He's a lover.
He likes female attention.
But from attractive women, right? It's totally his MO here. And
his webcam girl, she was gorgeous.
yeah, she was super hot.
She was gorgeous. Well, the pictures of...
I'm sure she's hot, dude.
You know?
I'm sure she is.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, webcam is different. Like, you can't Photoshop in real time.
I was thinking like...
Instagram. You're thinking Instagram.
Yeah, like Instagram or like a dating profile. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she's...
literally a webcam girl. I said that, but...
Yeah, but she's got, like makeup on and stuff, but I'm sure she's hot. But I knew that this was the way to get this guy to do whatever you wanted. He needs that female attention. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
He's a simp, for sure.
Details, but first I want to bring back onto the program criminal defense attorney Anthony Osso, who has a specialization in domestic violence situations. My goodness, Anthony, so good to see you. I mean,
is that Jesse's
your
cousin?
Thoughts on this? This is not the first time you've seen an alleged murder for hire plot, particularly in Texas. There are a lot of them, but this one has so many different parts to it. It's shocking, to say the least.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's already a rare enough charge to see. Yes, I've seen this kind of charge filed in the past, but again, a solicitation or murder for hire case is not nearly as common as straight murder cases. They're just, you don't see them all the time. And so when you couple that on top of the fact that this is a very popular reality TV star, with sort of an interesting show at that, it's just, it makes for a very bizarre set of facts.
Are solicitation to commit murder or conspiracy to commit murder cases, are they in a way easier for prosecutors to prove? What do I mean by that? When you have a murder case, obviously, there's forensic data, there's witnesses, there's digital data, it works. But sometimes you don't have that, and it's more circumstantial about whether somebody killed another individual, murdered another individual.
Weird.
Whereas with these kinds of cases, the way you ultimately arrest the defendant is
they have 7 years of history together. Did they not have any other pictures?
I know, they use the same pictures, but like, I was thinking this earlier, 7 years is it's a long time. It's a long time to be in a relationship. So, and you hear most like murder for hire things on spouses and stuff like that is within like the first 2 years. Am I wrong?
Probably, yeah. It's usually pretty early on because then they discover they don't actually like each other.
I'm divorcing my husband because he booed Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl.
Right. They discover they don't like each other, or they finally like get like a whole prenup thing maybe where you can like end up getting more money, or insurance things come through, but it's usually early on.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're coming out of that honeymoon phase and you're like, I don't know if I could do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is weird. They're almost a decade in, and now she's like, gotta get him killed.
That's my point.
But
it's crazy.
It also leads me to believe, like I said last week, like I don't like that we always look at the social media because it's made to look perfect.
It's made to be that perfect world, perfect life.
We don't know what it's like at home behind closed doors. They could be fighting all the time and just put on a smile. Because I mean, Aaron's a TV personality, so he knows how to be fake for the camera. He has to.
They could be Amber and Johnny at home.
I don't think she's taking a dump on a pillow, though.
And on my side of the bed was human fecal matter.
Oh, I could be wrong. It's possible. But
I'm just saying, like, you never know. She could be that crazy at home.
It's possible. It is possible. But
so, I don't know.
Again, that's why I don't like when they use social media. Because you'll never know. It's fake. Nobody's social media portrays real life. Nobody's.
Right.
Paper trail. There's a communication trail. You wouldn't file the charges unless you really have a clear-cut case of a plot, right? That's my take. Is that so off?
Absolutely, Jesse. I think that you don't see them filed all the time because, again, they are hard to prove. And as a prosecuting agency, you want to have that paper trail and be absolutely certain that you're filing a good charge. But it's important to keep in mind solicitation is different from conspiracy, and that conspiracy just requires an agreement, sort of helping or assisting in some form or fashion, whereas solicitation is that kind of ongoing request, payment, prodding.
They said both for
so that's
her
how I
charges
conceptualize
in the beginning.
Those two offenses.
Both conspiracy
and by the way, I looked it up in Nevada. I don't know if you had a chance
solicitation. They said both of those in her charges when the video first started. Solicitation.
Solicitation?
Yeah. Solicitation. Oh my God.
That you do.
Anyways, they said both of those in the beginning of the show.
What about the solidification? I'm sure she's going to catch multiple charges, but it's going to be what sticks, how much time is she actually going to get? Because in my opinion, it's tragic. I just don't think she's going to get much time. I don't. I think her real punishment is going to come from the fact of having it all to having nothing.
You are hardly wrong.
What? What?
But I feel like I wish.
Wow.
I know.
This is a rare occasion.
On film.
Wow.
But like, I hope you are. I hope
I do too.
You are,
I do
because
too.
this woman, I can't even.
Did they say where she's being tried? Is it in Nevada or Florida?
I don't know. They might have said it in the beginning, but I'm not sure.
I think that will have an impact on what happens.
Agreed.
I think if she's in Florida, they're going to throw the book at her.
Yeah.
I feel like in Nevada, they might be a little looser. But I don't know. I mean, I can't really speak on Nevada's behalf. I lived in Florida. I saw friends go to jail for next to nothing.
For this much of something, and they literally got locked up
like
for a really long time.
dime bag, and you get 5 years.
Like what?
So
we'll
have to see. We'll have to. God, I hope they mention it, or we'll have to look into it after the fact and maybe talk about it next week. But I do think it'll make a difference. I do.
Do either, but correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you see it in other states, including Texas. The penalty, obviously, for murder could be life in prison. But if the murder wasn't committed and you just have the solicitation or the conspiracy and steps were taken to advance it, I'm looking that there could be 2 to 10 years, 2 to 15 years. Is that right? You're not looking necessarily at life in prison. You're looking at significant prison time, but it's not the same thing as murder,
2
right?
2 years isn't significant.
Not the same thing as murder. It's treated very differently. I think in Nevada, a conspiracy charge would amount to 2 to 15, and I think for the solicitation case, it's 2 to 10, which is sort of shocking when
the max of 25.
You hear what actually transpired in this case.
Well, and to be clear, look, she's innocent until proven guilty. I'm going to go in a little bit about what her arguments could be. First, I wanted to ask you, why would somebody waive a preliminary hearing? Any benefits to this?
It's just not necessary. So a lot of times at a preliminary hearing, you're just going through you're put on notice of your rights, notice of the charges against you. If a bond hasn't been set or bond hasn't been addressed, that would be a time to do it. And you enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. So oftentimes there's really no need to go through all that. And in that case, a defense attorney will oftentimes waive the preliminary hearing. I've done that in my practice before. So it just saves sort of people time in that regard.
A couple other things I want to bring up too is once she knows her charges, they could offer her a plea deal and could get next to no time, but pay, nothing or whatever the deal is. We'll probably never know if it does come out. I mean, we might because it's more high profile. The other side of that is if there's too much evidence against her, she could enter into an Alford plea. An Alford plea is, do you know what that is?
I think so.
It's where you go along with saying that you're guilty because you know that they have too much evidence against you, but you're not admitting that you did anything wrong. So it's, that if you go to court, you'll be found guilty, but you refuse to admit guilt. Yeah. But she could get a plea deal. And I think it's 2 to 10 on one, 2 to 15 on the other. I don't see
him going max on both if they both stick.
I don't, but I also don't know what her past is like either. Because as you know, troublemaker.
Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. How would they know?
Your past will reflect.
Keep coming up on you?
Well, but it'll reflect on, like if you go back to court.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I have a feeling we'll see her. I'm going to stick to what I said originally, 5 years in total. I think she'll do about 5 years. And I think she will get out early, and she'll do about 2.5.
I feel like she should get minimum 5 on each charge.
I would agree.
If they stick.
I mean, it's a murder for hire. I would actually like to see her get the max, which would be 25 years.
Yeah.
But do they run it concurrent or consecutive? Who knows?
Right.
And that's the other thing is, say they give her the minimum and they give her 2 years on both charges, which is 4, but they run it concurrent. She's only going to do 2. She'll be out in less than 1.
Yeah.
So there's so many variables that could happen here. I'm real curious to see which way they go. But I do think they'll go light, and I think that's awful. I do. Because Aaron,
this is terrible. It's so bad.
Aaron, I just want to hang out with you and give you a hug, brother. Just hit me up on forthebooze12@gmail.com. We could totally be friends.
We're literally the next state over, buddy.
Yeah, be friends with me, not her. You're too pretty and too close to the ex-wife.
It was a little hard to hear exactly what was being said in that hearing, but according to reporting from Courthouse News, the attorney representing Goodwin, David Brown, based on the reporting, said that his client might be interested in negotiating a plea deal. What would that look like?
It really depends. I mean, plea deals happen all the time. Actually, most cases are resolved through plea negotiations. And so he's probably going to want to get all the evidence from the state or the agency that's prosecuting Victoria, evaluate it, review it, and then go back to the drawing board and have discussions with the prosecutors about what they think is an appropriate punishment, and then counter with his arguments to try and come to a number that both sides walk away from thinking is fair.
You know, one of the most interesting aspects of this case, and it's shocking the fact that if the allegations are true, she went towards a convicted murderer who's in prison as the accomplice, and that raises a whole set of questions about why you would go to that person. But also the idea of the smuggled phone. Is this something that you see as common? Again, taking the allegations as true, that people who are locked away.
I don't see why it's so mysterious that she went to him. He's a murderer.
And something just came out about him. She probably watched it and was like, oh, damn, let me see if I can reach out to this guy.
Who else do you go to besides someone you think can murder somebody?
Right.
Like, who else do you talk to?
He's already convicted of murder.
You don't go to the grocery store and ask the bag boy to do it.
Let it rip, Michael. Let it rip. Let it rip. Let it rip. Bang it home, Michael. Bang it home, Michael.
They keep bringing up smuggled phones. We all know that happens.
Constantly.
All the time.
Constantly. It's the most confiscated item in prison.
Is phones.
Yeah.
You think drugs, maybe weapons, but
no, phones are the most smuggled in item.
You know, hooch, whatever.
Hooch? No. What? How old are you?
You making hooch in the toilets, babe.
We've got the cleanest hooch in town. How clean? 40% kerosene, 60% hooch. 60%? Hot tomato, let me in!
What are you, 90? Who calls it that?
But literally, phones are in prisons constantly. Constantly. They keep bringing it up like it's like, whoa.
Like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's found. They're found every day across prisons in America. It's kind of weird that they are harping on this so much.
I know.
Can coordinate crimes on the outside?
To think that any form of maximum security can prevent these kinds of things from happening, I think, is unrealistic. You see and hear about contraband in not only the jails, but in prisons all the time. And so it's not uncommon for that to happen.
I want to move a little bit into we'll get back to the criminal case, but I want to move a little bit more into the civil arena. So we know that Aaron filed for divorce. I wonder if Victoria's no contact order with Aaron, does that impact her ability to participate in divorce proceedings? I mean, she hasn't made bail, and you think about that if she wanted to challenge the divorce some way or contest it. And then you have Aaron's civil lawsuit for assault, false imprisonment. You wonder how that has an effect too.
Yeah, in my experience, when there's a corresponding civil suit or family lawsuit in a criminal case, the criminal case usually stalls both of the other proceedings because you've got Fifth Amendment issues. I mean, I wouldn't advise a client to go to depositions or to make statements on the record in hearings that are necessary in civil suits and family lawsuits, or I'll advise them in those hearings to assert their right to remain silent. So oftentimes I just see that those suits are stalled while a criminal case is pending.
What did you think of the lawsuit? You know, the idea of intentional infliction of emotional distress, false imprisonment, negligence. What do you make of those claims?
I think it makes sense. I mean, I don't know what, from my perspective, I wonder what Victoria's assets look like and how that might have some sort of effect on the family law case as well as the criminal case. But I think that the torts make sense. What she did is certainly in violation of a tort law in Nevada. So it makes sense the way that they filed the claim.
I want to go through the arrest report a little bit with you to break it down and see what police say happened here. So initially, the investigating officer said that they were made aware of this alleged murder for hire scheme after they were contacted by a detective at the Florida Department of Corrections, informing them of this supposed plan involving Grant Amato, as well as an additional suspect in Nevada. And that additional suspect, Victoria Goodwin, right? But what led police to that conclusion? Well, we mentioned earlier that a cell phone was seized from Grant Amato, and investigators dug into that phone when it was seized back on October 3rd, and what they found inside was shocking. According to the probable cause affidavit, quote, analysts tagged a conversation between a female who goes by Victoria Candy and inmate Amato. Inmate Amato and Mrs. Candy discuss how much they are in love and how her husband, FH, would not accept divorce. Mrs. Candy at one point states, "I'm so anxious, LOLOL. I just can't believe it's happening. Like what? The blank," the expletive. Like, how did I get to this point? Am I a bad person because I chose to end his existence, not divorce? Now, yes. Anthony, I've talked about this before.
Yeah. And a couple things I want to point out. They said that she hasn't, well, as of this video, she hasn't bonded out yet. It's 10 grand.
Yeah. I know.
She's got the money.
Does she? Or is everything Aaron's?
How cringy. She goes by Candy. I mean, she's good looking. She's not that good looking. Calm down, girl.
They were in love. In love.
I just love that I called that because I just knew.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you think if she came across the documentary about him, it's obviously going to say that he was influenced so much by this beautiful webcam girl to do the things that he did. Instantly, boom, idea. Like that's first where you go.
Do it yourself, okay? Don't reach out to him. Just do it yourself. I sleep next to you. It's not that hard.
I would.
I'll be right there.
I don't need nobody.
What about me?
I need you.
Okay.
Spoken with other experts about it. What do you make of those messages? It's going to be very hard to say, I didn't write those messages. Those messages were from AI. I'm just making something up. You have to explain that in a way. And I wonder, the argument that we see a lot in these kinds of cases is, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. There was not a real plot to kill my husband. I was expressing my frustrations. What do you take away from that?
If just having not even seen the case yet, I want to look at how they came about getting this evidence and see if there's any sort of legal argument I can make to try and suppress the evidence. But just from looking at...
You mean like a chain of custody argument?
Chain of custody, or that there were issues with the warrant, things of that nature. I mean, her standing to object to text messages found on his phone is going to be difficult. But just looking at the evidence itself, it's really hard to make an argument that I didn't mean what I was saying. This was all just sort of a fantasy. And then at the same time, trying...
Who does that? Who does that? All right, it's... in fear of sounding gross, we all have fantasies. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you want to be a prude and say you don't, that's fine. But everybody does.
Right.
This isn't a fantasy.
No.
And you pass the fantasy mark by reaching out to somebody, talking about money.
Yeah.
And then discussing dates that they would be available to be killed.
And here's his schedule. Here's where he's going to be. Like, what?
I don't understand how they would even go about trying to see this in her favor. I just don't.
Yeah, me either.
This whole, it's a fantasy. I mean, you might as well just, I don't even know. You probably could have did better if you said something like, I was forced to do it. Or, I don't know, something.
Yeah.
Anything besides it was a fantasy. Clearly, it's not a fantasy. You tried to get this to happen. I don't know. It really bothers me that that's her defense here, because I feel like I could be the lawyer and argue against that and win. That's stupid.
It's ridiculous.
That is.
It's totally ridiculous.
It's a fantasy. I got some fantasies.
Trying to explain the other damning pieces of evidence in the case. And so, it's easy to break a twig, but it's hard to break a bundle of twigs.
Did you come up with that? I like that. That was a good one. Can I use that in the future? I think that was good.
Absolutely, yeah.
The fact that, not code names, but Victoria Candy, FH, could there be a defense argument? How do you know what she was talking about or who was writing what?
Fathead?
Sure, and I think I want to look at the subscriber information, like what phone number is this coming from? Who's registered to the phone? And then they can even go a step further and say, well, let's look at the geolocation on the phone. Where was she in time when these messages were sent? And if you can corroborate that she's with the phone, then it's going to be really hard to create a wedge between her and the person sending the messages. So there are a lot of tools that the investigators in their toolbox that they can use to put all that up against her.
Yeah, and further down in what the investigator uncovered reveals just how detailed the supposed murder for hire scheme really was, because according to the filing, quote, Mrs. Candy informs inmate Amato that her husband will be staying at the Best Western Plus and is with his smoking.
What Best Western? What, Zach?
Where are we staying, guys?
Zach, what? I bet Zach's not staying at the Best Western.
If that's true, wow.
Dude.
Wow.
Zach is not staying at the Best Western. Aaron might be, and Billy and Jay.
Yeah.
But Zach's probably staying at like the Four Seasons.
Wherever there's a challenge, I always have a way. It's been a hell of a week. Hope you guys are doing great.
So
you know he would do that.
Everyone should be.
You know he would do that.
He'd
be like, I can't sleep here. I have an allergy to Best Western.
My respiratory issues.
Buddy. She proceeds to send inmate Amato a picture of the two of them along with a picture of a black Dodge minivan being driven by her husband. During this time, inmate Amato has been in contact with an individual whose name is redacted, who will be taking care of the situation. Inmate Amato and Mrs. Candy...
that means that they have another name.
Yeah.
But I knew that they knew there was a third.
But they actually have a name.
They actually have a name.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been speaking in code, so it's doubtful to me that it's an actual name.
With the picture of Aaron driving a minivan, it's going to be hard to say that FH isn't him.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't understand why they would even put effort into geolocating her phone. Because her story hasn't been that she didn't do any of this. It's been that it's a fantasy. So she's never said, oh, I didn't send these messages. She said, oh, it was all pretend.
Oh, the lie detector determined that was a lie.
Yeah, okay.
So why put any effort into geo? I mean, she's never denied it.
Yeah.
That those came from her phone. So, and I do.
I guess just more evidence to like put against her where you have like hard, like physical evidence.
Yeah, but I mean, she might actually say, yeah, I sent them. It was just a game. And I want to go on record, since you were so nice to actually admit that I'm usually right, that I was wrong about something last week, and Megan was right. It was $11,515, which makes it even dumber. Makes it even stupider. $15.
Instead of 50 for gas, it's 15 for gas.
Which now that's a Florida gas price right there. That's a I got to get to the next town over to pay.
I just need to fill up a quarter tank.
Yeah. Nobody has a full tank of gas in Florida. It just doesn't usually happen.
No.
Also have $11,515 set aside for this individual when the job is finished. Now, investigators also found messages where the two appeared to be discussing using PayPal, Zelle, Cash App to make payments. And it is noted that Amato had apparently asked Goodwin for a $2,500 PayPal payment up front to an account. Anthony, those numbers are so strange to begin, but you know, the specificity in those details, again, I think is problematic for a defense.
Yeah, I think it's a good indicator of why the defense attorney's discussing the possibility of a plea negotiation in this case. I mean, the opening statement writes itself that days before this plan is taken out, that Victoria is sitting in bed or lying in bed negotiating the price of Aaron's head. That's insane that they've actually come to an amount of what they think his life is worth.
Yeah.
And that could be some really damning evidence in a trial. But yeah, the specificity, it goes directly against any form of, hey, this was just fantasy or playing around. So not good.
By the way, what do you make of, if you take this as true, this love that they, it's, you and I were talking before we came on, right, about these alleged murder for hire plots or actually convicted murder for hire plots. Love is a big factor in them, right? So if this idea that she had this love for...
There's no love here.
No.
Okay?
No.
There might be from Grant, but it's infatuation. And for her, it's just something she needed to say to get some guy to do what she wanted.
Yep.
There's no actual love here.
No, not at all.
And I 100% actually love what Jesse was saying about the specificity of it all. The fact that if she would have texted, $20,000, and then it would be a little easier to say it was just a fantasy, it's just a number I saw in a book or I saw on a show.
But it's so specific.
They're very specific numbers.
Yeah.
And the information that's being passed like between them is just, it's very particular information, what he's driving, what he looks like. It's going to be super hard to argue that this was all a game or a fantasy. I just don't see it.
Yep.
I don't.
I absolutely agree with that.
Grant Amato had this relationship with him and saw him on the documentary. That, as strange as that is, that's not outside the realm of what we've seen with other cases. It's almost consistent, right?
No, it's not, Jesse. I mean, it is consistent.
No,
Jesse. You don't see this often, but I think when you work in criminal law and you're around the court system enough, you do run into cases like this where inmates make pen pals. And believe it or not, there are plenty of inmates serving long sentences that develop relationships and even marriages while they're in custody.
All the time.
And so what I've seen often in these murder for hire cases is there's typically a love wedge in the relationship. And that's where this sort of idea is birthed to take out one's other partner.
What do you think? Actually, let me ask you this. Why do you think the name of this alleged hitman is being redacted here? Could that mean police don't know exactly who it is? They couldn't find him yet? I'm a little confused.
They can seal, sometimes they'll seal records because they just to preserve the investigation. They could still be working on whether if he hasn't been arrested yet, then they're not going to want to put him on notice that he is a suspect in the investigation, he or she. So there's a lot of different reasons that they wouldn't put that out into the public.
Now, there was more revealed about the communications that Amato had apparently had with this.
What could it be?
What?
There's been more revealed about his communications with her. What could there be?
I don't know. Maybe they're just
Conjugal?
releasing more.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
Ugh. Ugh.
Oh, dude, I will be surprised if it doesn't come up like she wrote him letters and put like pictures in there or something.
Gross.
I personally feel like they probably know who the third person is, but they have not grabbed them yet. And you don't want to tip them off.
Right.
So you redact it from any paperwork.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or you haven't figured out how to charge them, or maybe they're an informant of some kind now.
Or building more evidence. It could be anything.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
So, I mean, I kind of hope it's like this person was never actually going to do it, and they've turned informant, and they're just dropping the dime on everybody.
Get that money.
Yeah. I mean, paid twice. Holler.
Alleged hitman, whose identity not yet known. According to the filing, analysts tagged a conversation between inmate Amato and an individual whose name is redacted. Inmate Amato tells this individual, "Block the main number I had been texting you from." Inmate Amato also informs this individual that he will distract the husband of Mrs. Candy with a phone call. He then informs this individual, "He's asleep right now in the hotel room, brother."
What are you doing, brother?
Hell yeah, brother.
"I need to know what is going on. Can I get an update? Was it done?" Now, that name listed in the text, Victoria Candy, is close to her actual maiden name, by the way, which is Cadenas, according to a registry reportedly reviewed by the Las Vegas Metro PD.
That's not really close.
Cadenas?
Every time I go to one of these additional updates, it feels like it's getting worse and worse.
Maybe
and you're
Candy was
seeing,
her stripper
again,
name.
innocent until proven guilty, but you can see a little bit more of the string of this plot, of this alleged plot.
Absolutely. And not every case is a trial case. And I think that a lot of a defense attorney's job goes past being able to make a good case at trial. It's a lot of the work is done before that. And in this case, based on the new updates that you've been giving, Jesse, I think that that's probably going to be the route that this one goes. As much as everybody'd like to see how it played out in trial, it's really not a good defense case from what I'm hearing.
By the way, so police say they haven't identified this alleged hitman, and once the person's arrested and charged, you wonder, would it be possible if this person is offered some kind of deal to testify against Goodwin? And by the way, my understanding right now is Amato hasn't been charged in connection with this, but you think a deal would be worked out? You think it's important to have have this person's testimony against Goodwin?
It depends whether they think the alleged or the possible hitman is worth charging or not. Because in my eyes, Amato, I mean, what else can the state do with him? I mean, they can
like, don't charge him. You mean like they're not going to charge him for that?
This is what I said before. He's already in 3 life sentences. What's the point?
Yeah.
And there's this, again, there's more to this, like making it harder to say that this was a fantasy, is now the communication has left from just you and him to him and a guy hired to do the job, who are like, you know, setting up these times and, hey, he's here. Is it done?
Yeah.
This is obviously not a fantasy. This was happening.
Yes, absolutely. It was happening. I think it's so wild. It's
very
so crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I never thought I'd see the day we'd be sitting here talking about Aaron Goodwin's wife trying to murder him.
Murder.
This is crazy.
It's so crazy.
What are we doing here, people? What is the world coming to? People are not all right.
No.
I'm fine. Totally fine. I don't know why it's coming out all loud and squeaky, because really, I'm fine.
He's already facing 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole. So at this point, they're just wasting time and resources. They could put him in further security. They can, and the prison can take measures, but charging him additionally for this isn't going to benefit anybody, and it will just cost money.
It's going to do
I would
nothing.
prefer to use Amato as a cooperator. And if I felt the evidence showed that this alleged hitman was someone that we should go after, because if they haven't arrested him yet, which is why they may be sealing the record, then that's someone that's willing to commit murder for hire who's out in the free world.
Yep.
Yeah, it was something I thought as well, and I'm completely speculating because I have no idea who this person is. But you have to wonder, fair argument, if this is a person who would have accepted what is, again, a relatively small payment to murder another individual. Yeah. Have they done this in the past? Is that a fair assessment? I don't know. Or maybe would they be open to doing this in the future? I don't know.
I'd want to see their cell phone and their computer and look through that to find out.
Talk about an investigation, by the way. On March 6th, this is the day of Goodwin's arrest, police had executed a search warrant at her home where Goodwin had exited her house, gave an interview with detectives, and police say Goodwin explained that she learned about Grant Amato through a true crime documentary, began writing to him, describing their relationship as 2 pen pals, and this relationship, she says, started in May of 2024, ended in November, and this came to be, according to her, because she and Aaron were having problems in their marriage, though the nature of those problems still unclear. But investigators say they showed her messages that she actually admitted to remembering. But when asked about the messages regarding sending money, she apparently told police that she believed the money would be used for cell phones. Okay. But here's what she had to say about the messages surrounding this alleged plot. Quote, Victoria was eventually confronted about the text soliciting and conspiring to murder Aaron. She denied wanting her husband to be killed. She described herself of sometimes daydreaming of being in a different situation, but she no longer felt that way. She also stated she did not remember sending those particular messages. Victoria expressed her feelings of wanting to be without Aaron and with Amato, to which Amato described as a fantasy or daydreams. Now, Anthony, how damaging is this idea of fantasizing? But also at the same token, you look at all of these images of her and Aaron together where they apparently seem so happy. Would it be tough to convince a jury that this woman was capable of this?
I don't think so, because look at who she contacts to get the job done. I mean, you've got a convicted killer. You're talking to somebody that's capable. So if this was just some fantasy, not that I'm saying that one should go commit prostitution, but that's certainly a less severe crime than hiring somebody to kill your husband. She could go find somebody off the street and exchange text messages with that wasn't a confirmed killer. But she didn't do that here. She went to somebody that's serving 3 life sentences to commit this crime. So playing with fire if it was a joke.
Well, I'll tell you what, Anthony,
it was not.
A full transcript of this police interview is supposed to become available at a later date, so maybe we'll have you back on. We'll talk more.
Full transcript?
Okay. I want to read that.
I guess we're the Aaron Goodwin podcast now.
I am ready.
Man.
I'd be very interested to read that.
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that we are not being told yet.
Of course.
Oh,
there always is.
I would love to hear that.
They got to, save it for a later date and keep some stuff under wraps for trial or court or whatever you want to call it, because like they said, it probably won't go to trial. It's probably just going to be this, and that's it. And they decide.
It depends, because they could hit her with a plea deal, but if she doesn't take that, it could go to trial.
Oh yeah, if she doesn't take it, but I think
she's going to take it.
If they offer it, she would be absolutely ridiculously stupid to not do that.
Yeah, I just hope it involves real jail time.
Yeah,
because I feel like there's just more to this that we don't know, like a lot more.
Agreed.
About it, we're going to keep our eyes out for this, but my gosh. What a case. In the meantime, Goodwin remains in custody, awaiting her next court appearance. Anthony Oso, thank you so much for coming on, breaking down this case with me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody, that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar.
So
thank you so
that's much part 2. I don't know how many we're going to do, but we are going to finish this.
I want to know.
At this point,
I want to talk about it.
We need to know. We started it. We have to see it through.
Well, Ghost Adventures started this show that we do. Like, why we couldn't not do it?
I'm still kind of just blown away. This is a lot.
It's so crazy.
And I really hope that they leak out some more of the stuff that we don't know, because I know there's going to be more.
Absolutely.
There's always more. There's always more, and there's always more. I just hope we get to find out about it before there's like a true crime documentary in 10 years.
Yeah.
And
they did confirm that she found him through the documentary.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. How is this all a fantasy?
It's not.
You paid, you set up dates and times, you sent pictures, you cooperated with other people, $15 was part of that $11,500. Everything is way too specific.
You could go find some random person on, I don't know, like Snapchat or something, and do these kind of things as a fantasy.
I like that.
What?
Put a little dog filter on my face and try to hire a murderer.
Make sure the tongue comes out every 10 seconds.
Yeah. Can you kill my husband?
But I mean, seriously though, you could do that with anybody, but you reached out to a convicted murderer.
Yeah, triple homicide, 3 life sentence, no possibility of parole. He's a bad guy. You knew what you were doing.
Get out of here, bro.
I mean, even if you thought it was a fantasy, you knew by contacting him it was no longer a fantasy.
Exactly.
But this is where it's going to end this week.
It is.
And, follow us on all the social medias that I don't post on.
All the things for the booze.
That's right. And if you have a story, and again, guys, I'm sorry, I really didn't connect that until we sat down and I went to think.
We will do it next week.
Well, I went to think, I gotta read the stories, and I started looking for my phone, and I was like, oh yeah,
it's up there recording.
Never mind. And but if you have a story you want to send in or say hi or have a suggestion, it's forthebooze12@gmail.com, because eventually after this trial thing or this case, we will go back to regular episodes.
Yes.
And if you like regular episodes, join the Patreon. We just put one out on there.
Yeah, we did a whole little episode
That's
over
right.
there for the first time.
Short episode on Paul A. Dever State School.
Yeah.
We did.
It was a good one. I enjoyed that.
It was fun. It's fun to kind of let loose on Patreon, because we can just, we can cut loose. We don't
be
have
more
to,
ourselves. Yeah.
Well, yeah. We have to, it's YouTube. We don't want to get taken down off here. But that's it.
That's it.
That's it. Good.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye. Please, just don't ever have me killed. That's all I gotta say. Bye, guys.